how are you? Nice shirt.
Good, I know, thanks.
We're
It's so
twinning.
funny on Instagram, it's like, it's so zoomed.
What was that?
I said on Instagram, it gets so zoomed when you do like a split
I know
screen.
you look. I'm like sitting on my tippy toes right now,
I
just so that I
know,
can
me
get
too. I'm like,
the whole situation in the frame. What's up? What's up to everybody that's joining us? My name is Tunde Oyeneyin. I am a Peloton cycling instructor. I'm the founder of Speak, and I'm also a member of Team ON. I am so excited to be here today for this very, very special Better Than Before event. I have an incredible guest with us today, the one and only pro soccer player, Abby Dahlkemper. How are you, girl?
Good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm so excited to talk about empowering each other and the power of team sport. And so yeah, I mean, I play team sports pretty much my entire life. Starting at youth teams, going through high school, through college, and professional level, and even the national team, which I've been so fortunate to have had that experience. And obviously, like these past 6 to 9 months have like not been normal at all.
Right.
So it's been hard. I mean, I think obviously everyone can attest to that lack of in-person kind of camaraderie, whether you're working remotely or it's just such a big change in everyone's life. And Optimum Nutrition actually did a survey, and they found that over 60% of people felt disconnect through friends and family, which like is so hard. And
right, which is why I'm honestly so excited about today and this week's event, this Better Than Before, really focusing on connection and bringing people together virtually so that we can live our happiest and healthiest, best lives through what has been 2020. And to your point that, so many people feel so disconnected right now. I think we're all part of a team in some way, whether that's sports team, a team at work, or just like a team in your home with your families and your children and your friends. So you're literally the perfect person to have this conversation with today, being that you are part of, one of the best teams in the world. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm so excited to like kind of talk about this new normal, and like how we can empower our team like through different areas, different aspects, no matter like where we are, and whether it be online or maybe at like a safe distance away from each other.
Right. Well, my question for you to that point, like trying to like navigate through what sounds like what you're saying is like connectivity, and I think about the last 6 months and how I've really struggled to stay in touch, not only with my friends, but just like my teammates at Peloton, like to try to find ways to stay connected and to be up and in the knowing of what's going on in each other's lives. So my question for you is, over the last 6 months, how have you managed to stay in touch with your team?
Yeah, like you're feeling at Peloton, I like kind of feel the same way. We were kind of like full go at the beginning, for the national team, training for the Olympics, like in hopes that would happen. So we were together a lot of the time, and so now the past 6 months, it's been really hard, and there's been like a lot of Zoom calls, which I'm sure you've been on as well, and virtual meetings and whatnot. But I think just like knowing that like everyone is going through this together gives us kind of this sense of like unity, and being able to be like, we can get through this together. And I think that it's like important in like a team environment, being able to go through like hardships together or adversity, and then like through it you're gonna learn so much.
Right. No, I couldn't agree with you more. It's like there's something about that, knowing that you are not going through it by yourself. Because typically, I mean, like fast forward or rewind, I guess, pre-pandemic, like when you think about the adversity or the conflict that you're dealing with in life, you feel like you're the only one going through it, which can make things seem like so heavy. There's something about knowing, like, during this time that we are all experiencing the same kind of thing. I was actually on a live earlier with Dr. Jared Spencer, who he talked you up, by the way.
He was so great. We had such a good talk.
Right, but I was talking to him and I was saying, like, I wouldn't have said before that I was somebody who really dealt with anxiety. Like, I'd had anxious moments, but I wouldn't have said that I truly understood what anxiety was until now. And like, I've called friends that I don't think that I supported them in the way that I should have or could have. Like, now understanding what anxiety is, I've like had conversations with friends and said, oh my God, I was not there for you in the way that you needed me. Like, now I understand what you're going through. And so my next question for you is, I mean, you kind of mentioned this, but how would you say, like, are there specific examples of how you, or tools rather, that you use to help out your teammates when they are dealing with adversity?
Yeah. So it's funny, you said that you like have never dealt with adversity or anxiety, until the past 6 months, and I have kind of been just like an anxious person like all the time.
Wow.
So I think, this time has definitely been like telling in a sense that I'm like, okay, I have no control over what's happening. Like, I need to be present in the moment and like stop trying to like plan my life, because none of us can plan our lives.
Wow. And this year like proved that.
Yeah. And I'm like,
right.
So it's definitely like heightened my anxiety, but it's also been like teaching me lessons and being like, okay, just like take a breath and be in the moment. And when, my teammates need some uplifting, I think it's really important to know like the kind of person and player that they are and what they may need in that moment. I've been like so fortunate to have been a part of teams that are so connected and close, and like it almost feels like this big family, which I'm sure like at Peloton you probably feel the same way. And so I think that, positive talk is like sounds so simple, but it can go so far. And encouragement through, I think criticism in a positive way, being like, hey, if you made a mistake, being like, how can you fix it? And you can do better, or that it's gonna be okay. Do the next thing simple. So I think and obviously just like encouragement. So I think the biggest thing for me and how I respond is positive talk, and I know a lot of my teammates do the same.
Yeah, and it sounds like something so simple, like, think positive, like be nice to yourself. It sounds so simple, but it's so true, and not just to yourself, but with your friends. Like, it's funny because I couldn't count the number of friends that I've like been there for this year, like been there for in terms of like talking someone like back, bringing someone metaphorically like down from the ledge, but obviously I'm not being serious here, but really helping guide someone's emotions. But on that same note, there's been so many times where people have helped me. So it's like equal. Like, I'll be great for a week and then I'm struggling, and then I have someone who, to your point, like speaks positive messages to me, and I'm like, okay, you're right, everything's gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be okay. So kind of going now back to the soccer world, you tapped on this earlier, but the 2020 games were postponed. I cannot imagine being an athlete and training for something. And to your point, you make plans, but 2020 has proven that there's no such thing as making a plan. We can't do that anymore. No. How do you re-navigate? Like, you train for this, and then now it's not happening. And I feel like there's so many people, whether it's teenagers or young people in school who, last year, this past few months was their senior year of sports, or people that are coming into a new year of school, and this is, sports or whatnot. Like, how did you navigate that?
Yeah, I mean, I think like I'm not going to sugarcoat it and say it was easy,
Right.
I think it was like really, really hard. And I think, all of us are having such a hard year, like you said, whether that be, you miss your senior year of sports, or you're a freshman in college, like my younger brother, who doesn't know if he's even going to have a season playing lacrosse. But I think just like knowing again that everyone is like kind of going through a really hard time, like whatever that looks like, but also like knowing that you are loving what you're doing and you're passionate about it. So like when, like in my head, I was always like, I love soccer so much, I can't wait to play a game. So like I'm obviously going to be like working so hard to get to that moment, and knowing that that moment is going to come. It's just a matter of I gotta practice patience and at least just flipping things in a way that it's like, okay, it's a positive way. So yes, the Olympics were postponed, but at least we're gonna have the Olympics.
Right.
So kind of thinking like, yes, this stinks, but like it also could be worse. And
you get to say that you're like, it's like, who gets to say that? Like, I'm going to the Olympics. Like, to your point of like re-navigating your thoughts. It's like, girlfriend, at least you going to the Olympics. You know what I mean? Like, really, you're absolutely right.
Just changing that focus. Yeah, changing that focus and like kind of reshifting. Like, wow, okay, like I have a lot of gratitude towards like this thing, and gratitude cultivates happiness. And Dr. Spencer touched on that with me too, and we were talking about that. But yeah, I think just like kind of looking at it in a positive way as best as you can, because if you're going into a situation being like, this is gonna stink, like it's gonna stink. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, you're kind of already defeated. But yeah, I mean, just trying to take the positives out of 2020.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
So I actually have some questions for you today now. So,
I'm ready.
And I'm so excited to hear your responses. But the first question I kind of have for you is, why is the team mindset so important in a time like this?
I would say, just touched on this with Dr. Jared, but just like being such an extrovert, like I rely so much on human energy and connection. And I think the great thing about a team is that you've always got someone who's uplifting you or supporting you. One of my teammates, Christine, always talks about that pressure you feel on your back. Rather than assuming that that's the weight of the world, acknowledge it as someone's hand on your back. So I think with a team, you've always got like somebody whose hand is on your back supporting. And then it goes vice versa. You're always there for somebody as well as just like the accountability piece. Like my team makes me want to be better. My team makes me want to do better. And thus I am better. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. It's like so interesting hearing that. And like, obviously you're in a different, like you're in a sport, but it's like a different look than like a soccer team.
Right.
But I can like relate in a sense that like feeling comfort, knowing that, like you said, that hand on your back, like knowing that I'm going to step out on the field with these 10 other girls and like we have each other's backs, So like, not being afraid to make mistakes. And like,
and when it's just you, like if you're just showing up for yourself, you can give up a lot easier. But when you're like, man, to your point, I'm supporting, for me, it's like these 33 other people. It's like, I need to come ready. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. So that's really interesting. And also like holding yourself to a high standard is like always a good thing. And I think that that's like how you get better, like being critical, but like also like telling yourself, like it's okay to make these mistakes, but also like not making the same mistakes over again.
Right.
Yeah. So with that being said, how like can I keep my team engaged remotely? I know like obviously at Peloton you guys are like virtual or having to be virtual, and like how are you doing that, and how are you guys like keeping engaged?
Yeah, when I think of my team, like also like team for me is also the community of members that take my classes. And so the funny thing there is that it's for the most part, it's always been a virtual experience. If anything, I would just say that the connection has enhanced because our family has continued to grow. Also, I feel more connected now to our members than even ever before, because now it's like solely virtual. So whereas before I would have, maybe 60 people in the class plus thousands of people taking a class at home, now since it's only people at home, like I give 100% of my energy there versus like splitting my energy between the two.
Yeah.
But I would say, so that's like the community piece of my team, and then like my team, like a team of instructors. But yeah, it's just like, I feel like there's been so many different evolutions of what connection looked like. Like, before, like when the pandemic first started, I think we all thought this was like a week thing. Then we're like, okay, it'll be like a month. And then it was like, okay, like this is, we're still going. So, I say that to say like, I've gone from doing Zoom or, virtual happy hours, virtual baby showers, virtual birthday parties to, socially distanced, like, hey, you walk your dog on that side of the street, I'll walk my dog on like, just like waving at a friend from across the street, like filled my cup. So, and now it's, as things are opening and whatnot, that has evolved and changed as well. But yeah, just like I now, like, before you make plans with a friend and whether those plans came to fruition or not, it was what it was. But now it's like, if I make plans, like I'm sticking to that plan. I think we all like really look forward to the really simple things now. Like if I have a phone call date with a friend, like I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, for sure. You literally nailed it on the head. I was just going to say, like, just focusing on the little things.
Yeah.
And like you said, like you are fully present in like your community now, and like you don't have to split your time 50-50. And I think that that's like a really cool thing. And that's like so hard to be like 100% focused in that moment. So I think that's cool, and like obviously like something that you've like added a layer to, and have worked on obviously. So speaking of, how can someone step up as a leader or team captain right now?
I think, it's funny because I used to always say, I've always worked in positions where it could be something that was incredibly competitive. But someone told me years ago that think of your team as like, what is it when you go to a play? What's that light thing called?
The spotlight?
Yeah, spotlight. Hello. So like the spotlight doesn't just stay in one place. It like, continues to change. I think the same thing comes, not only in terms of like wins, like the spotlight will change of like who the light is shining on, but also in terms of like who steps up to be the team captain. I think, there can be the captain, but like even the captain has a bad day, and thus someone else will need to rise. So I think it's just like always knowing that there's ebbs and flows, and that person that wears the hat will change.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think also it's kind of like leadership can like be seen in different ways. So like someone can be, a leader vocally, or someone can be a leader like through their actions or what they do off the field. And so, yeah, I think that that's really important. I think obviously like for soccer, I think like even having like a good culture in like the locker room and, making light of situations.
It's the best.
Yeah.
That's the best. That's what I miss most. Like the locker room kiki.
Yeah, totally. The shenanigans that goes down before practice and after.
Right, it's the best part. It's the best part.
Yeah, it is fun. I think like obviously eventually when I'm like done playing, because I can't play forever, I'll like miss that the most.
Yeah.
The locker room stuff.
I always say it's like when you're going out with your girlfriends, like you have more fun getting ready than you actually do at the party. Like I have so much fun like teaching my classes, but like the part that you remember at the end of the day was like the crazy thing that somebody said when you're getting ready. It's just so fun.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Every time. But I know I kind of touched on this, but I like kind of want to hear if you have any other suggestions or what you do in a sense that you see a teammate or a coworker struggling, like what kind of advice do you give them?
I think like for the most part, like humans just want connectivity. People just want to love and or be loved, and people want to feel like they're heard. And so I think that for me, sometimes it's not about rushing to have a solution for a friend, but rather just like hearing what the person is trying to say. Like sometimes I move through waves. Like sometimes I need like solid, like give it to me. I need cold hard like advice. Like, don't sugarcoat it. But sometimes I don't want somebody to like fix it. Sometimes I just need somebody to hear what I'm saying. And so as a friend, I would say, being a supportive friend also means just kind of like feeling out what your teammate, that person needs. So just be willing to listen. Just be willing to listen. Not listen to be heard and to like say something and to have the right thing to say, but just listen to feel what the person is going through.
Yeah. No, that's like so true. And it goes back to just kind of like knowing, like, I don't know, I feel like I was just saying, like, kind of knowing the person and what they need, and that goes such a long way, and it's such a little thing just to be able to be like, I'm listening to you, I hear you, and that connection, like you said. So,
right.
One last question before we turn to some of the questions that people have sent out is, what's your advice for people who might feel disconnected from the teams in their life? I know you kind of touched on this, but maybe like family or friends, someone, outside of the workplace too.
I would say first and foremost, acknowledge it. Second, allow yourself to feel it. And then 3, like try to create, and this is just like personally, just speaking from my own experience, but try to create habits and rituals. Like I fell into a slump. And like now that I've moved out of that slump, if you will, like I realized that what I'm doing now that I wasn't doing was keeping to like routines. Like, cause I didn't have a set time that I needed to be up anymore because everything's virtual. Like I didn't have to get up, to get ready, to do the hair, to do all that stuff. And so I was just like going to bed, whatever. And then like waking up and like getting 4 or 5 hours of sleep. But now that I have like ritual, like, okay, I'm putting my phone down, or for example, when I wake up, I try to not like look. I don't check an email. I don't check a text message. I literally wake up, turn my alarm off, and no phone for an hour. First thing I do is I drink 2 cups of water. After that, I take my dog for a walk. So like having those rituals that are positive things that I put into myself before I'm ready to like dispense any of my energy to anyone else. So like I like do me and do my things, and you can call it selfish with my time, if you will, and then I give back to others. Now I realize if you have children, like it's completely different. Maybe you have to wake up way earlier to get that meditation or whatever in. But yeah, so for me that works. And with Dr. Spencer, we talked about this earlier, but just really the importance of getting a good night's rest. When I don't sleep right, I'm on way too much coffee the next day. Yeah, I eat way too much the next day. I'm tired. I'm cranky because I'm tired. Like, if I were to say just like one short thing, go to bed, get sleep.
Literally.
Get enough sleep.
Literally, yeah. Sleep is like so crucial, and I think like to wrap that up, like I think 2020, like you have to focus on your health, like health is all you have. So I think that that's so important, and I don't think that's like selfish at all. I think that that's like doing yourself, like justice. Like you need to take care of yourself. No one else is going to take care of you for you, So that's awesome. And routines, I'm with you on that. Gotta have routines. So
gotta have routines. Yeah.
So questions. I guess there's a couple questions. Tunde, do you have any questions that you saw?
I am trying to push the question button, and it looks like my phone is frozen.
Okay.
You guys, so if you can see any on your end, mine won't swipe right now.
I have 2 questions. You both are this is the first question. You both are such dynamic role models. What does women's empowerment mean to you? Do you ever feel pressure to fill that role model persona? I definitely feel pressure. Women's empowerment. What does women's empowerment mean to me? I think just like pushing boundaries. I think of that, and I think of I think this is such a like crucial year in so many ways. Like obviously with the pandemic, but you see the social injustice, and you see gender discrimination, and being able to be a part of something that's so much bigger than myself, but also kind of using my own platform in a positive way to like push boundaries, I think is like all that we can do. And I think if everyone kind of like takes their what they are here to do, or their special talents, or what they're good at,
Right.
and uses that in a positive way to kind of push social boundaries. And I think that that's like so important. And being on the national team and having such powerful women that will stand up for what we feel is right is like so empowering. And if we're doing it together, that creates even more like power.
Right.
Do you ever feel pressure to fill that like role model persona?
Well, I agree with you. I'll start with the first part of the question, like, what does it mean to like women empowerment, or why is that so important? To me, like, women empowerment is a woman having the confidence to uplift and support other women. I think so often we can see women tearing each other down. And I think that, true women empowerment is saying like, there's enough to go around for everybody. Like, as a woman, let me also help to break down the door for another woman to step in beside me, not behind me, but beside me. So I'm very like pro help a sister out, like let's help each other out. And then do I feel pressure to step up? Is that what the second part of the question was? No, I would say more so, no, I just like always go back to just being myself, just be myself. And I think essentially if I'm being who I am, like everything, all those other things fall in place. So it's like less focused on like being a great woman role model and more focused on like, just stick to your values. I think that would be, the piece, like just stick to your values and be you, for me.
No, I completely agree. And I think, I like love that you said, women supporting women. That is like so important and so like needed right now. I think, there's like kind of a lot of hate in the world. And I think, if we can all come together and like love one another and, support, and I think that that's like going to be, get the best out of everyone.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. So I think we're about out of time, but I hope everyone listening, that everyone's enjoyed this afternoon session and that you feel more connected to this team that you've built of people nationwide who share your goals and your motivation for being better than before.
So awesome to spend this time with you, Abby. You guys, if you are, well, first and foremost, let me also say that the week is not over. We're closing out the week. Team ON power couple Haley Page and Conrad Lewis are hosting a very special date night event. But from what I hear, it's not like your typical date night event. It's all about how to keep relationships strong, literally. So check that out, 7 p.m. Eastern time. That'll be right here on the Optimum Nutrition Instagram page. That's going to be exciting. Got to tune back in for that.
Yeah, totally.
Abby, first of all, I have to say this because everybody's saying this on the stream. Girl, your hair looks so good.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
Everybody's like, your hair.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I was like looking at how beautiful you are, and
likewise.
I missed the comments, so thank you. I literally had to get a fresh cut. I was like,
you can tell it's fresh. You can tell it's fresh. Looking good, sis. Looking good.
Thank you so much, and thank you for chatting. I really enjoyed this today.
Thank you, and thanks everybody for tuning in. 7 p.m. Check it out, Eastern time. We'll see you back.
Awesome. Thanks.
Bye, girl. Thanks,
Bye.
guys.